All right, welcome. Thank you for clicking in this video with a brief explanation of what the service called Kinstretch is. Thank you very much for putting your time and your trust into listening to me speak about something that you probably may have never heard of before. Thank you for putting your time and investing something into me so that maybe I can teach you something new that might help your clients, your athletes, the members of your gym, whatever type of facility you have, whoever are the people that you take care of. This system can help you. I can help you guys. And I sure hope so that you think so too. So let's dive right in and see what we got for you. But first, let's start with a brief introduction of who I am. My name is Nicolas Barbosa. I am from Sao Paulo, Brazil. I moved to the US right here to South Florida about 11, 12 years ago. And for the good part of the last half a decade, I've been focusing most of my efforts of my life into becoming the best practitioner, the best trainer that I can be. Trainer being the person that controls the anatomy of their clients the best and prepares them and allows them to be protected when performing whatever task they want, whoever person that is. That can be a professional athlete, that can be a collegiate athlete at any level of exercise or movement. I want to make sure that they are the best prepared they can be so that they have the movement freedom to do the things that they want to do. Which leads me to this graphic right here. This is all the accreditations, all the certifications that I've taken since 2021, which is when I really delve into the functional range and the functional anatomy seminars world. And so far have accumulated 4 separate seminars from them in 4 different places of America. This very first one here was in Las Vegas in 2021. It was in October. The date, I don't know why it's showing me on December, but it was in October. The internal strength one was in Phoenix, Arizona. The Kinstretch one, the first one, was in Costa Mesa, California, which is Orange County. And then this last one was the most recent one, was in Newberg, Oregon, which is actually where this picture was taken, which was just a couple months ago. It was in May of 2024. And so over the past few years, I've accumulated quite a bit of these and attended quite a bit of seminars, met quite a bit of people that are really just the industry leaders. They're these physiologist super nerds that know everything about the human body and teach you exactly and walk you through the steps of assessment, pain points, triggers, joint function, everything that is necessary to know to be able to control the human body so that it is able to perform the movements that it needs to perform in the best way possible. This is my picture with Hunter Cook. You guys can look him up online on Instagram or whatever. Very good practitioner. Very happy to have learned from him 3 separate times now. My mission is simply one thing. I want to give Homo sapiens their movement freedom. I want people to be prepared to do whatever they want with their body. I am a sports fanatic. I've always been a sports fanatic. I love playing sports. I love watching sports. I played soccer for 12 years. I've been in the weight room for 10 years, almost. And more recently, I've played tennis, basketball, volleyball. I love everything. And so taking that away from me is probably the biggest fear that I've probably had in my whole life. And so training to be able to support that lifestyle, to support an active lifestyle, and you not only with the sports stuff, but also just being able to daily tasks, being able to go on a trip and hike a mountain, being able to go up a flight of stairs or many flight of stairs whenever you're out with your family and not fearing it. I think movement freedom is the way that we express ourselves in the world, is the way that we take what's in our head, the muscles in our body move, the muscles in our mouth move a certain way, and we produce sounds that allow us to expose what's in our head into the world. And so I think it's a very important quality to maintain. And whenever you acquire things through movement, chemicals are released in your brain that allows that cycle to keep repeating itself. And so movement is how we survive. It's how we align ourselves with the universe. And having more movement freedom gives you more access to more of you, to more of who you are. And I think having that capacity is one of the most underrated things in current society, and I hope to be here to change that for us. And that's where Kinstretch kind of comes in. Kinstretch is it's a system of training. It's a group system of training, so it's not a one-on-one system of training that allows us to enhance maximum body control, flexibility, usable ranges of motion, which is what we call mobility. That's the difference between flexibility and mobility. Flexibility is what you can achieve passively, so controlling yourself externally, and mobility is what you can control yourself in. The more ranges you can control yourself in, the more strength you have within all those ranges, the more trainable they are. Kinstretch really is a better definition of it than the one that the system gives us. It's GPP. GPP defined as general physical preparation. which means really your body being prepared to do whatever you want. Whatever you want to do with it, you want to make sure that it is prepared, it has the prerequisites of it, and that all the tissues that organize themselves to allow you to accomplish that goal know how to do it and are prepared to do it, and they will not break while doing it, which is one of the most important parts. So what is not Kinstretch? Given there can be quite a bit of confusion when looking and observing a Kinstretch class, people might confuse it with things that it really isn't. It's not a yoga class, it's not a mobility class, it's not a flow class, it's not CrossFit. The truth of the matter is there's a humongous market for group fitness classes, for group training classes, for strength training. You see it in college weight rooms, you see it in professional weight rooms. Everything that's happening within that setting of movement is in a group setting. Even at the highest level of athletes, they're all usually training together. And they're usually looking for very specific things. They're looking for mobility, flexibility, strength, tissue resilience, injury prevention, improve sports performance, which really is the end goal of the professional athletes. The problem is none of these classes over here and none of the strength training done in these weight rooms allows us a complete system. It allows us to tackle all of these things at once, which is really the problem that we're solving here. Most of the current options in weight rooms and fitness classes, they lack the scientific background to be able to support those claims. Kinstretch is a system based off of scientific principles designed specifically so that our bodies are prepared to do whatever they want to do. And really, that's the solution to all this. It's providing a system of training based on science that will improve our mobility and thus our movement capacity, improve our performance in sports, in our daily tasks, in hiking, biking, running, improve your flexibility, more tissue resilience, which helps you prevent and mitigate injuries. It'll improve articular function so you can have less joint pain. And improve health and longevity so your joints are healthier for longer, which improves your movement capacity even more. It'll be taught by well-trained professionals like me and my partners. It'll be have a built-in assessment system so you can know exactly where your joints are faltering you, where your biggest deficiencies are, so that you can particularly and really specifically pick them out and train those specific parts of your body so that when the system decides to organize itself into a specific task, it has better tools to do so. And in the background, running is a network of manual therapists that offer you support in injury management, which again is us who tells our clients exactly what they should and shouldn't do whenever they encounter problems like these. All right, so getting into a little bit more of the science of it, which I don't want to do too much because I don't want to overwhelm anybody that's watching this video. But most systems of training and even most coaches, most strength coaches in weight rooms and even professional setting, collegiate setting, in your regular LA Fitness, most of the movements, most of the exercises people are doing in all these group classes as well, they are all movements that happen externally. What this means is that our nervous system is organizing the soft tissues of our body, the parts of our body that accomplish movement. They are organizing those parts and accomplishing a task with it. This means none of the energy and the force that our bodies can produce is being rerouted back into ourselves to change the parts of our body that allows good movement to happen in the first place. And so you notice in a weight room, the human bodies that are inside that weight room, they organize themselves to move a barbell, to move a kettlebell. In baseball, the human body organizes itself to grab a bat and whip a ball across a ballpark so that it goes as far away as possible and run some bases. In hockey, you're using certain parts of your hips, some parts of your legs to skate through the ice and score a goal. In CrossFit, you're running, you're jumping, you're squatting, you're cleaning, you're snatching, you're doing all these crazy movements. But in none of those examples, we have an organized way to know exactly which parts of our system are receiving which stimuli, which is exactly the problem that Kinstretch solves. In Kinstretch, instead of using named exercises like a squat, like a deadlift, like a shoulder press, we actually break it down further into the parts of our body that allows us to accomplish those movements in the first place. And so there's 4 determinants of movement that allows us to do anything else, which are going to be our muscles, our joints, our connective tissue, and the thing that organizes them all, which is your nervous system. We segment all 4 of those, and we make sure that the determinants of movements are the ones that are being trained, and those are the ones that we are improving the quality of, so that when force is applied to those systems, and they improve, and they are applied back into the sport, the original sport or activity that the human body wants to do, it has a better quality, a better tool to be able to accomplish that task. This picture right here is the picture that I took at the Internal Strength Model in 2023. It's pretty much an illustration showing how the nervous system and the joints, the muscles, and the connective tissues interact with each other all the way to the outside where external movements happen. This is where squats happen. This is where football happens. This is where golf happens. This is where uh, walking, running, jumping, cutting, sprinting, everything happens. And this inside is everything that allows us, our body, to organize itself to accomplish all this stuff. All this stuff in here is what allows our nervous system to express itself into this thing that's outside, into all these movements that are outside. And so this is the bottleneck of movement. So why shouldn't we spend more time in here? Why is no one spending more time in here? Well, we should, and that's why Kinstretch exists. Now, more for the applications of it. Who should be doing Kinstretch? Everybody that is considered a Homo sapien, everybody that is a human, everybody that has a hip, everybody that has quads, everybody that has a patellar tendon, everybody that has a nervous system that controls all of those should be doing Kinstretch, because all of us have those things, and all of us need those things to improve, to better accomplish the tasks that we have in our day-to-day lives. A professional footballer needs to have better hips so he can produce more force at the hips, more force at the quads. He can push bigger, tougher, stronger opponents. Your neighbor George, who's 75, retired, trying to take care of his house, also needs a stronger hip so that he can cut his grass, so he can do so more efficiently, spend less time doing so, less back pain when he does it. He needs it just as much as a football player does. It is not uncommon for you to see in a Kinstretch class a professional athlete and a regular person right next to each other. It is not uncommon also for me to hear some rebuttals from the people that I tell them they should be doing Kinstretch. Some of these rebuttals are, Nick, I already go to the gym. Nick, I already go to CrossFit. Nick, I already do yoga. I already have a personal trainer. I already have a strength coach that works with me at my team or at my school or at my facility. I run every day. I play basketball with my buddies. Isn't that enough? I already have to do so much skill training in the off season. Fantastic. Keep doing all those things. I know you enjoy those things. That might be your job if you're a pro. That might be your job if you're a collegiate athlete. Keep playing basketball with your buddies on the weekends. Keep running ball, throwing ball with keep throwing catch with your kids. Fantastic. Kinstretch will support you to do all of those. Once you have a better body, once you have better anatomy, and once you have better tools, you will spend less energy, be more efficient, be better at your sport, and get hurt less and recover faster in between all of those skills that you perform on a weekly basis. It gives you the prerequisites that you need to be able to accomplish those in the first place. Let's say you do go see your personal trainer, and let's say he is a fantastic trainer. If that trainer is not specifically assessing your shoulder joint to see how it can separate from the rest of your torso, and you have lack of shoulder internal rotation, and he still puts you in the bench press to grow your pecs, at some point, that bench press is going to make your shoulder joint more and more adaptable to the bench press as opposed to the shoulder. Now, that does mean that your shoulder joint is going to deteriorate faster unless you promote shoulderism in that shoulder joint through Kinstretch practice, through training the joint, through training the connective tissue around the joint, through training the rotational muscles, and making sure that your nervous system has access to all that new stuff. Then with a better shoulder joint, you're able to go back into the bench press and increase your numbers and not get hurt in the process. So it is just as much as a supplement to strength training as it is a replacement to it. It can act as both. So this means that if you are a facility that already has a strength coach employed in it and already has a strength coach running the program for your clients, for your athletes, for your professionals, Kinstretch is a practice that can happen in the background and will improve the quality of their weight room training as well. It can replace the weight room training because it'll make them more prepared for the sport in the first place, but it can also run alongside the weight room training so that they are more prepared for the weight room training as well as the sport. Speaking of which, here are some sport-specific programs that the system gives us. They give us a couple performance goals and some common injuries in each part of the body, and that allows a good basis of how to train people in each segment or in each part of the sports industry world without necessarily having to be a practitioner of that sport. I've never played a game of hockey in my life. I can skate not very well, but here I am receiving information from people that have studied the data of hockey injuries and hockey performance goals, and I can for sure be able to train a client that practices the sport of hockey regularly because I have the data from the people that do. So one of the best football punting coaches was in a wheelchair. And so if you have the information and the background and the data that is needed to be able to accomplish those goals and be able to know what sort of program to write, we're good to go. All right, cool. So who the heck's using all this stuff? These people are. Locally here in South Florida, we got the Dolphins, but you can look at all the names here, to be honest. We got the Rangers, the Giants, the Cubs, the LA Galaxy, Texas Rangers, some colleges as well with Cal. We got Michigan. some UFC fighters, lots of UFC fighters actually. The Seahawks, Bills, the Cincinnati Reds, the Pirates, the Lakers. There's quite a bit of teams that employ a Kinstretch practitioner, or at least the players there use Kinstretch on a regular basis. It seems to be supporting them really well, and the data backs that up as well. The injury rates tend to decrease, performance markers tend to increase. It is a very solid plan to be running in the background all season long. So what does a Kinstretch class look like? You're probably asking yourself this question. Thankfully, if you go on my Instagram profile with this link, you're going to see a couple videos there. There's even a little tag with the Kinstretch mark here, and the seminars that I've attended, and some videos of the seminar, as well as some videos of our classes in here. We have our own private class with a couple of training buddies of mine. If we were to bring that to your facility, depending on the amount of people that want to do it, or the amount of people that the coaches think that they should do, it'll be different. They might look a little different. It might look a little similar. There's technically no particular set way to do a Kinstretch class. It's just what positions can we find people in to train the things that we need to train. And as long as we target the proper tissues, that's kind of how it works. The logistics of it. Where would this happen? We would come to your facility. I would come to your facility and teach your students, your athletes, your members. So how many times a week? It kind of depends on the situation. If you're a professional team, if you're a college team, if you're a team of a private team, on season, I'd say 2 to 3 times a week. I'd kind of want to cap it there. If you're in an off season, we can go up to 5, 6, 7. We can do whatever. If you're treating members that only need really daily task goals, or they want to really just live more healthy, if you're in a type of facility that are not in a competitive setting, I recommend never less than 2, ideally 3 to 4. That would be the ideal scenario. The more variation of classes your students or your members perform, the more different parts of their body are going to get trained, and the more which means the better tools they're going to have for more things. And so eventually they're going to train many things, but that variation is required. And for that variation, we do need some consistency. For prices, in our practice with my business partners, we charge $30 per class per head. That being said, if you want to commit to a seasonal Kinstretch, let's call it membership, where we come in for, let's say, an off season, let's say 6 months, or let's say try to maintain the health of your athletes or your clients during the season, or let's try it out for a 6-month class in nearby fitness facility. We can work out some different prices for that depending on the amount of people that you have buy into it. Equipment, I bring it all. It's all in the box. We really only need bands, stretch straps, tennis balls maybe. It's really not equipment heavy, can be done anywhere. All we need is an empty space in the gym where we can kind of spread out and nobody kind of hits each other with limbs moving. And finally, this concludes our presentation here on what Kinstretch is. If this sounds interesting to you, if you think your athletes, your clients, your members are going to benefit from a practice like this, if you think it'll support their life goals as well as their sports goals, their performance goals, whatever goals they have, and you currently don't offer any strength training practice, which is very different from skill training practice or weight training that supports the anatomy, their complete anatomy of their body, from the joint level and the nervous system level, all the way out into the muscles and the connective tissue. This is something that can help you guys. So please, if you need, contact me. This is my personal phone number in the screen right here. I prefer you text me, but if you need to call me, go ahead. This is my email. Go ahead and email me there as well. And I also am going to plug here my online business Instagram. If you guys want to follow me there, I provide a lot of science-based training tips. It's less Kinstretch oriented, but I still provide good information. So I'd be happy if you guys follow me there. And we can work out some sort of deal for you and your facility to bring Kinstretch to you guys. We are in West Broward. I'm located in West Broward County, Florida. So anything around this area, North Miami-Dade, South West Palm Beach even, as long as the drive is doable, I'll be happy to provide you guys with the service. So let me know. Text me, contact me. Let's get this sorted. Let's get your people healthy. Let's get your people moving better, and make everybody happy in the process.